was never about replacing a white apartheid elite with a black elite. That is why the key task in South Africa, if we are to change this economy, it's got big monopolies that work against small enterprises, that works against cooperatives. South Africa has got 4 main big banks. They are not even monopolies, they are oligopolies, unable to respond to the needs of ordinary South Africans. That's why, as the SACP, we've been having a campaign to transform the financial sector, including the banking system in South Africa. We have banks in South Africa that operate as if they are somewhere in New York or London. And their primary orientation is towards funding consumption and not funding investment into job-creating, productive economy. This, in fact, is one area where we think class-oriented trade unions also need to focus their attention, because the single biggest enemy we face globally still remains finance capital and its structure and the manner in which it is operating. That is why we feel that we need, and we've been doing this, to support and strengthen our own ally, COSATU. As the SACP, we continue to work together with COSATU. But it's not without challenges, because imperialism wants to drive a wedge between the SACP and COSATU. They want to try to achieve what has led to unions like ITUC that have long abandoned the interests of ordinary workers but are nothing other than working to give capitalism a face. Where the communist movement and the labor movement was driven apart in Europe, and both of them ultimately got defeated. The same agenda is being tried here. We are not going to allow COSATU and the SACP to be driven apart, and it is our hope, my comrade leaders in COSATU, that the sooner COSATU affiliates to WFTU, the better for all of us and the better for South Africa. We're going to be honest with you. Like all former liberation movements in power, new challenges begin to emerge. For instance, in most what is known as post-colonial states in developing countries, you have a capitalist system that often remains controlled by a few monopoly capitalists. Either are domestically located or they are located in the metropolitan center of capitalism. And it's very difficult to penetrate those capitalist sectors in those post-colonial states. As a result of that, in the light of poverty and unemployment, political office becomes a means of accumulating wealth. That if you get elected into a political organization, then you may become a councillor, or become a mayor, or become a minister, and that becomes ways and means of private accumulation, thus corrupting the state and building what we call a parasitic bourgeoisie. All liberation movements face that. Now, the SACP's perspective or approach is that monopoly capital remains our main strategic enemy. But the most immediate threat to our revolution is an emergence of a parasitic bourgeoisie. Because the parasitic bourgeoisie, what it does, it loots the state in order to enrich itself. By looting the state and weakening it, our democratic country then is deprived of one of its most important weapons against which to fight monopoly capital. So it's not a choice. We can't be allies with a parasitic bourgeoisie as a communist party, as the working class. Therefore, we need to defend our state against being looted so that it is strengthened to actually discipline and redirect monopoly capital in order to transform our economy. These are the challenges that we face. We know we are not going to win this battle alone and on our own. We are going to win this battle also through deepening internationalism. That is why we are very happy that WFTU is holding its Congress, the first ever on the African continent. And as I have said, this must not just have been a symbolic thing. The one way of concretizing it, it must plant a new seed for building class-oriented unions in the African continent and in the rest of the developing world as well. Now, we must understand that at all times there is a huge offensive against trade unions in general in capitalist countries, but class-oriented unions in particular. That is why we must condemn this thing done by ITUC, that whenever there are WFTU activities, ITUC must find some excuse for some activities to try and distract from the work of WFTU. What kind of a working class is organized there whose primary mission is to fight another working class formation instead of directing the fight against the capitalist bosses? Now, we have our own challenges with our own trade union movement. I'm sure that COSATU comrades in particular who have been here must have shared this with you. A few years ago, there was a huge offensive directed against the National Union of Mine Workers, one of your affiliates. That offensive was an offensive by the capitalist bosses to try and weaken the National Union of Mine Workers. And the bosses do that in the best way that they know. They have an agreement with the National Union of Mine Workers. In the middle of that agreement, they make another agreement with another union in the same sector in a manner that is going to make workers to turn against the National Union of Mine Workers. The Marikana tragedy, that tragedy, we must lay the blame squarely and primarily in the hands of the mining bosses in this country. We know that some of our detractors go around. It's not nice, of course, for police to shoot and kill workers. Nobody said that was good. But we must understand the source of the problem. Because if we do not understand the source of the problem, we are not going to deal with it. We know that globally, we were then being criticized. We are the ANC, we are the Communist Party, we are in a government that slaughter workers. No, we are not a government that slaughter workers. That is why a full commission was appointed into that. But it is the bosses who must carry the blame for the Marikana massacre. our comrades, when you get briefed by all sorts of these other yellow trade unions who visit your countries, you must know the truth. And the truth will only come from these red unions and this red SACP. Now, comrades, you know, class-oriented trade unions, it's not just a fashion. It's an absolute necessity in the struggle against imperialism in the current period. It's very important. That is why WFTU has to grow. WFTU must be grown. Its affiliates must be strong and they must be strengthened, because an organization like WFTU is a very important weapon in the overall struggle for socialism in the world today.